Hey y'all, today I'm going to be crafting some little mini junk journals, so I figured I would set up the camera and bring you along with me to do this, so let's do it. And hey, if we've not yet met, I'm Brenda Delane. I am a creatrix that owns Mud Lotus Arts, a business devoted to creativity, spirituality, and healing. And I like making a bunch of different stuff out of paper. So this channel is a lot of create with me's and some unboxing videos. Feel free to follow along the journey if you wish. Okay, so first things first, we need to gather some paper for these mini junk journals that I'm going to be making. Oh, and one disclaimer, I don't really know what I'm doing. I just am making it up as I go. So if you're like an expert bookbinder, this may not be helpful. This is just like a fun playing around with some paper. Come along with me when I do that video. So yeah, hope you're down. Keep watching if you are. Okay, let me gather some paper. So the first idea I had around this project was about the cover. So these boxes are where I keep, for now, my stuff from Album Love Handmade. She's a creatrix out of Poland. Her name is Kinga, and I love her work. So anyway, I'm on her Patreon. I've been on it for a couple months, and then I also got an Etsy haul from her recently-ish for my birthday month. I kind of went a little crazy in her shop and got a whole bunch of stuff, so that was amazing for my birthday. But yes, I have a lot of handmade paper from her, so my idea is to pick out one sheet that I can use as like basically the cover of the little mini junk journal, maybe even a couple. So I was going to go through this and see what we have, because there is a lot. So I know there's like this stuff, and then I also have this, and then I maybe could even make like a very tiny one out of like, because she has, oh my gosh y'all, this is like not sponsored or anything, I just love her work, but she makes these cute little pockets, and then she hand makes paper. I'm obsessed, honestly, it's so pretty. So you can see how, hopefully how pretty that is, but it has like a, you know, you can see the deckled edges, hopefully, and it's just gorge. I love it. So anyway, I might make a mini one. So pretty. Oh my gosh, I love that color. I don't know how she does that. She was saying it's hard to get really bright colors, but like even this kind of raspberry is so pretty. Anyway, sorry, not to obsess about her work, but it's really good. So anyway, community, we gotta support each other. Okay, so yes, these, and then I feel like there's a little different one. You'd think I have it all in these boxes because I don't have like a special sacred place yet to put it all, so I've just been keeping it safe in these little boxes. But yes, ooh, I'm definitely gonna use some of this. These are like vintage book pages that I got from her, so I'm gonna use definitely some of that. Ooh, there's a pretty brown. I might make a tiny one out of that, maybe. Okay, so let's put this to the side, and then we'll go through this and see what we're gonna use. So I'm always yammering on this channel about being process oriented in our making, and this kind of thing, picking out papers, is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about, that we can really slow down and relish. And to me, I am so grateful that I reached a point in my life, career, art, practice, where I can just lean more into the process instead of the product so much. Because, for example, with these junk journals, like I said, I'm not trying to produce like this amazing book that's perfect, you know, with expert binding and like all the perfect things about it. Like, I'm just trying to throw together a cute junk journal that I can like collage in or send to my pen pals or something like that. So I'm really grateful, because I used to be much more of a perfectionist, and it just wasn't any fun, you know. It was less fun than just leaning into the process, seeing what feels good, picking out some paper that looks good together, that feels good together, and just, yeah, kind of enjoying the process. The other thing I wanted to mention is that on this particular day, I wasn't sure exactly how much bandwidth and time I was going to be able to devote to this project. I knew I had a little bit of time in the morning, and so I pulled together the papers and everything, but later on, I wasn't sure how much time I was actually going to have. So that's another thing to bring in too, right? You know, we might not have hours and hours and hours to devote to our creativity, but we can still do a little something here and there. And I think that for me is very grounding, regulating, and nourishing. So even though I wasn't sure, like I said, exactly how much time I was going to be able to spend on this, I knew at least I had a chunk. So I was like, okay, like it's early morning. Usually that's when I do my creativity. I don't know about you. Leave a comment. Let me know, when do you do your creative practice? But yeah, so that was another thing I wanted to mention. Just like, you know, it doesn't necessarily require hours and hours. So I picked out these papers to be covers, and I'm pretty happy with these. One of them is embossed with little flowers, and then the rest are the handmade paper as well. And this one has asparagus leaf embedded into it, so that is very charming. So I think what I'm going to end up doing, just because I'm making these, I'm going to make 3 at once instead of just making one, like, because my original intention was just to make one. But yeah, I think I'm going to make a few, and I'm thinking I'm just going to fold some paper and tie a little yarn around there with a charm. So that's my plan. We'll see how that goes. I grabbed this paper that I knew I wanted to make the guts of the books. So this is printed to look old. It's not actually old, it's just printer paper, but it's printed to look kind of leathery and old, which is kind of cool if you ask me. So I'm going to use some of that. And then I also have this vellum, and I really like vellum a lot. I just think it's, I don't know, like romantic somehow to have some vellum. And then over here, I had these vintage book pages that I got from Album Love Handmade from Kinga. So yes, and they have Polish writing on them, which I just think is kind of cool as well. I also have a few more papers I'm going to grab to put in the junk journals, but let's go ahead and measure these guys and see what size we're going to cut down the paper. So after doing the fun part of gathering textures in the form of paper, then I had to do math, y'all. Just kidding, it wasn't that bad. I measured out the paper and got like an approximate size that I wanted the papers to be. And so that way I could cut them all down. So you'll see me doing that in a second. But yes, I had a few different sizes. I think in the future it would behoove me to stick to fewer sizes, and just that way it's more uniform, which is a little ironic because it's a junk journal, which is the opposite of uniform. Anyway, whatever. I got the measurements I needed, and then I was able to cut down the papers. And I think that part was really cool because it forced me to go slow, because math is not my strong suit. And so, and you know, it's also like measure twice, cut once, right? So, yeah, it just forced me to slow down and be really present with what I was doing. So that was definitely a net positive for this project. The math helped me to slow down and be present. And with that, I feel like if I were more product oriented with this project, I would be very concerned with the math and like making it perfect. But again, I just took I had an approximate size that I wanted my paper to be. So I got out my paper cutter and I just started to cut down different textures. I started with a few papers, and then I decided to get a bunch more, so I'll do that in a sec. But yes, cutting down all the paper was a process, but it was a fine process. I did it just fine. So I also had some little like memos and things that I had collected to put in the paper pile. Here are the yarns I was thinking of using for the project, because I often get distracted in the middle, and that's what happened here. So I was busily cutting paper, and then all of a sudden I was like, yarn. And so yeah, anyway, whatever. I'm going to go back to paper cutting in a second. So So back to paper we go. These are all the different textures papers that I went through in order to find my guts for my books. So I had like a bunch of different like collage books and little ephemera sets and things that I went through, and I got a ton of different like textures, which I super dig. I think it's really cool. Also, I just got a new collage pad from Archer and Olive. Yay, I love them. And it's multicolored. So fun. It's a new thing from them. Anyway, so cut down all the rest of the papers that I discovered and found, and I tried to make it pretty even, like, you know, with the sizes, but I was just like approximating everything. Again, process oriented. I was just vibing, going along. So yes, these are all the papers that I cut down, and I really love especially how many different colors and textures there are. I think that feels much more junky, and since this is a junk journal, that is how I chose to kind of swing it, was with many different things going on at once. Yay. I feel like junk journaling is really having a moment right now, and it can be so many different things, but my favorite junk journals that I encounter online and occasionally in the real world are handmade. You know, I don't think there are rules like it has to be handmade. I'm not one of those. But I do really enjoy seeing people make these cool, junky, thrown together books that are not perfect. And I just really enjoy that part of creativity. I think it's really cool. So here I am just kind of separating everything out into the different sizes after cutting kind of chaotically. So yeah, just getting everything straight again. I kept going back and forth on like how many I was going to make. So again, I'm just going back for more paper because I was like, I'm going to make a few more. At first I was like, I'm going to make one. Then I'm like, I'm going to make 5. Then I'm like, I'm going to make 1. So, you know, I don't know about y'all, but my creativity practice, sometimes it's a little, like I said, chaotic, but I think it also, the chaos helps me to ground and regulate so much that it's like a net positive. So here are all the little papers, and I'm just kind of organizing them in a way that makes sense for the flip through. So, you know, did that next and just kind of allowed myself to feel into things, right? There doesn't need to be this big lofty reason why you do something creatively. It can just be because you think it looks cool or because it feels right. So that's basically what I did, laying out the pages. So here's what they look like all laid out. And again, at this point, I wasn't sure how much bandwidth I had. I ended up making spoiler alert, I ended up making 1 journal total on this session. But now I have all these cool little page layout things for when I'm ready to make some more. So, you know, sometimes our creativity comes in stages, and it's a process in itself, aside from being process oriented, you know, and caring more about how it feels than the product. It's a process just to be creative, you know, so that is something I think about a lot. Okay, so it's a little bit later and now I'm back. So I have all these laid out, and there's a couple different techniques that I want to try. One is like really heckin' simple, and it's just like fold it and then tie string. But the other one, I've seen people make little junk journals by doing this other way. So I'm going to try both and see how it goes. And I keep trying to debate if I have like the attention span and the bandwidth to make like all of these right now or just one of them. So we're going to see what I can do. But yeah, really happy with this page layout. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So yeah, now I'm going to use my trusty cutting knife, my craft knife, and this little guy over here. And I am going to make a cut basically where the fold is going to be in the middle. I'm going to make a little cut, and then I'm going to take a piece of paper and feed it through the cut and then not tie it, but like glue it like that. So anyway, maybe that makes sense, maybe not, but we are going to see how this works. Okay, let's do it. I feel like it's amazing what we can learn when we just play around with stuff, and we don't do that enough, if you ask me. I feel like adulthood is filled with to-do lists and chores and like just things that are, it's not that they're not fun and they don't build the life. We like building our life. We like doing things, maybe not chores, but you know, adulthood doesn't have to be all boring and not inspirational to me. So things like this, when I'm literally just messing around with this weird dumb paper craft, it's like, this is so beautiful. Okay, so I went ahead and attached the, I guess the signature is what you'd call this, the bundle of pages. So I went ahead and attached them by cutting like I was doing and then putting this through. So I did 2 of those for this little cover that I'm gonna use out of handmade paper. So yeah, these are pretty cute. I like the way they turned out, and I guess I am going to, I was thinking they would be like side by side like this, but I think I have to do it like this, where one is inside of the other one. And then I was going to tie this string, because I kind of like the way this looks with the brown. It's like a rainbow type string. So yes, let's get that going. And then I was just gonna tie it to where there's a little bit of extra so that I can put a little charm and basically have like a page divider or page finder. So maybe I should put the charm on first. I have these really cute ones from my pen pal, along with some sequins. Oh, and some stickers, hee hee. But there are some very cool charms on here, but these are, the little opening is a little bit small, so I have to find one that'll work. But these are so cool. This actually inspired me to do this project, where these little charms, I think, oops, I think I'm gonna use a key charm for this one. That just feels right. Yes, little key charm. So I guess I'll have to carefully get this through. I might just do it, kind of cheat and do it through the larger opening in the key instead of the smaller one. So I'm going to tie this on first. And I'm going to double knot it so that it's really secure. I don't know any fancy knots, but if I did, I would use them. But like I said at the beginning, I'm just doing a little creative experiment today. I'm not trying to make like the world's best book or anything, so it's fine with me if it's a little messy. Okay, so now I have my charm on there. I might cut that little bit of extra. I'm gonna decide in a second. Then I wanna kinda line it up to where, the charm can hang down in the middle, like so. So that would mean I need about this much. Do a little extra. And this is my rudimentary way of doing this. Just gonna tie this on. Ooh, that kind of worked out. Ah, well, almost did. I think I'm gonna do a third little tie on here. There we go. Cool. So yeah, now I have, oh whoops, just a little bit. There. Now I have my little charm. It might have to hang on the outside. Cool, and it's kind of working. So very super simple little junk journal. I'm going to give this a little cut and a little tie so that it does have a little page marker as well, even though the key wants to hang on the outside. Yay, cool. That's fun. Yay, a sweet little simple junk journal. Woohoo! So here is the little junk journal. Just do a little flip through and show you. Some vellum. Some French astrology textbook. Little galaxy. This is thicker paper. Little bits and bobs. Little mushroom in there. Flowers. More thick paper. This could be written on. It's pretty thick as well. Cardstock. Collage. And then flowers and bugs. Lace. Love the lace. More galaxy. And vellum and little flowers. And a meow from the cat. Okay, so I definitely enjoyed creating this little mini junk journal. Like I said throughout the video, I didn't know how many of these I was going to have the bandwidth to create during this session. So I have all of these ready and waiting to be created into junk journals. But for now, I'll leave this here. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching. I am so grateful you're here. Follow the channel for more creative inspiration such as this, and I will talk to you real soon. It's been real fun. Okay, bye.